Hello and welcome to yet another special conversation of News 9 Plus at the Raisina Dialogue 2023. Amidst the G20 Global Summit that is going to be happening later this year, we have this important Raisina Dialogue, a melting pot of ideas where global leaders, not just from the track 1 but track 2 as well, coming and converging and discussing several ideas. One important issue that's being discussed is digitalization and the constant threat of cybersecurity and how cybersecurity is a potential important development that needs to be enhanced as well. And we have a very important guest that is joining us all the way from Japan. We have Mihoko Matsubara, who is joining us. Thank you so much, who is in fact the Cybersecurity Chief Strategist with NTT Corporation, worked earlier with the Ministry of Defense in Japan as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to begin by asking you about the Raisina Dialogue itself. You spoke here on this platform, and we had foreign leaders, including the Russian and the American foreign ministers, also speaking here. How would you see this particular platform as one of the major centers of global think tanks converging and in fact discussing several key concerns?
So I'm really appreciative about the role of the ORF played to host this Raisina dialogue to bridge between the different voices from global south, but also from democracies. And India is playing such a crucial role, not only the presidency of G20 meetings this year, but also not only the government, but also like civil society, like ORF, bringing together diversified opinions so that make sure that the global leaders in the government, but also in industry and academia understand and how we can move forward. Because digitization and cybersecurity are not only for specific region or specific sector or specific countries. So I think that even though that we have different opinions and we do not agree on everything, but everybody agrees that cybersecurity is so crucial. So that's why the Raisina dialogue is critical in that regard.
You know, in the era of post-pandemic, times, while digitalization has increased many-fold, while there are many positives to it, but there are negative elements as well, including that of cyber warfare. We had cyber attacks, and then there is disinformation as well that is continuously being seen and as a potential challenge. How does one tackle with these problems?
So we have to do it in a multilateral levels. So one is technologies, one is process or policy, and another one is humans or people or talents. And our way of life has changed drastically over the last 3 years and through the pandemic. And so we rely on the internet and communication so much more than ever. And it means that cybersecurity should be embedded into the digital infrastructures.
Yeah.
But still, because economies are struggling to keep up during the energy crisis and also the economic downturn due to the pandemic, and especially in the global south, so that the cybersecurity people and also IT professionals understand that they have to do more to protect their digital infrastructures for the organizations and also for customers, but they don't have enough resources. So, and there's a new term called Great Resignation.
Right.
And it means that lots of people from the IT professionals and cybersecurity professionals so burned out, and they actually started to leave their professions. And it, because I'm also a cybersecurity professional, and it's so sad to see my dear colleagues from the different countries in that positions. So I appreciate that the TV9 taking your time to focus on this important issue.
Well, there are a lot of concerns around the supply chain disruptions.
Sure.
And facing cyber attacks. So how can not only organizations but institutions as well as states protect themselves and guarantee that they can preempt and perhaps provide enough security so that these attacks are not successful?
So one is to raise awareness, and I think that Japan is doing a great job about raising awareness. And when it comes to Japan, you always remember the huge manga culture in Japan. So that's why I'm glad to see that the Japanese government is taking advantage of Japanese manga cultures to to make sure that the people with no technical or cybersecurity background understand that what kind of impact the cyber attacks can have on your supply chains and on your organizations and on the customers. Because cyber attacks sometimes are invisible, unlike missile attacks or bombing. But if you put it in a manga format, you have to visualize. So that it's more understandable for everybody. And that's how to raise awareness from also from not only from the major companies, but also the small and medium-sized companies.
Well, China has emerged as this major threat for cybersecurity, and there are growing concerns how China has been using malware and ransomware, including in India. We have a premier medical institute called the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, which faced a massive attack. While there were speculations that China could be behind it, but there is no final investigation that has still been revealed who could be behind that system. So how do you see this, and how does one tackle with the Chinese threat so as to say? Also, part 2 of this question is about the Quad. How do you think the Quad countries can come together to tackle this kind of a threat?
Sure. So unfortunately, we started to see more attacks on healthcare institutions, including hospitals, in India too, but also in Japan. Why? Because the healthcare services are getting more important than ever during the pandemic. But because they are investing more in the vaccines and the healthcare services, not necessarily to cybersecurity. And bad guys, cyber attackers, know exactly where the weakest link. And they know that the healthcare institutions under that so much pressures to protect human lives. So that is why that they are attacking healthcare institutions. So what we need to more, not only from Japan, but also from India too, is to support the whole nation support. And I'm so glad to see that the Quad countries, the summit already agreed upon creating a cybersecurity task force, and they've been having meetings multiple times already to cover cybersecurity, including ransomware attacks.
One final question to you. India has taken over the G20 presidency. And we
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. And G20 foreign ministers meeting was just concluded, and we are looking towards the summit as well. Now, India has also played a key role in several other multilaterals as well, and is a very close partner of Japan in several multilateral forums. Do you think that cybersecurity is one of the key areas that the G20 and other leaderships should also look into? Primarily also because we speak about terrorism and security challenges, but in the online world, in the dark web as well, radicalization is a key challenge. There's also disinformation that is happening continuously, and there is fake news that also spreads. So do you think this is one of the key concerns that the G20 leaders, perhaps at the level of the United Nations as well, and other multilateral forums should take note of?
So in the age of this globalization, every country is connected through international trade, maybe through the security collaborations, and everybody is reliant on digital infrastructure. And cybersecurity is the commonwealth for everybody. So that's why it makes sense under the India's presidencies to G20 meetings to cover cybersecurity, not only for the summit, but also for the every single ministerial meetings, because cybersecurity is such a cross-cutting area these days.
Well, Mihoko Matsubara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.